Hi, it's Robert Mendelson, Fractional CMO here in beautiful Montreal, welcoming you to another episode of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. We're part of Fractional Pros Canada, the home for Canada's fractional community, and you can find us on Facebook. We bring you conversations about everything fractional that matters for fractional executives and businesses from coast to coast. Think of this as your go-to spot for real talk, practical wisdom, and strategies you can actually use, all without the corporate fluff and with plenty of Canadian content. Whether you're a fractional pro or a business in our great country of Canada and beyond, this conversation is for you. Grab your espresso and let's dive in. Welcome to a special edition of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. I'm your host and fractional CMO, Robert Mendelson, here in beautiful Montreal. Usually we sit down with one or two experts, but today we're doing something a little bit different. We've gathered a roundtable of seasoned leaders from the Fractional Pros Canada community, and we are going to discuss year-end planning for fractionals. So it's kind of a year-end planning special. We're going to dig into the good, the bad, the ugly of closing out the year as a fractional executive, as a fractional pro, and see how we set ourselves up for the new year and for January. So joining us today, this is really a cross-Canada, cross-country panel. It's great. We've got Craig Wahl in Toronto, who is a COO. We've got Leslie Macumber, other side of the country, over in Prince George, BC, a CIO. And we've got Kendra Vyse. Is it Vyse or am I pronouncing that correctly, Kendra?
Vyse is absolutely correct.
All right. Kendra Vyse, other coast out in Mount Denson, Nova Scotia, business strategist. Everybody, welcome to this special edition of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. So we've got a full house today, so we'll try to keep the pace moving. So let's start with a quick lightning round and kind of take the temperature of the room. So if you had to choose just one word to describe your experience as a fractional in 2025, what would it be and why? Craig, let's start with you.
Hectic.
Hectic. Okay. Why? Why was it hectic for you?
Lots of contracts, lots of travel.
All right. That's a good hectic. Leslie, how about you?
Well, it's complete chaos. With the tariff situation and having to kind of relook at vendors and our sourcing, it was a lot of work to kind of go through in a very short amount of time.
Okay. Kendra, how about you? How was 25 for you? In one word.
I'm going to say rebuilding. I actually relaunched my brand this year. So for me, that was what it was. And for my clients, that's what I found, the same thing. A lot of them are going through a lot of different changes this year to do some refocusing on what it is that they're doing as well.
Okay, so let's move into the actual planning process. So usually before we can plan forward, we need to take a look back in the rearview mirror. So when you sit down to review your own business for the year, what are the key metrics or maybe health checks that you look at? Is it revenue? Are you looking at client retention, scope creep events, maybe your own burnout levels? Leslie, let's start off with you.
One of the biggest things for me has been my own burnout, my own emotional health, stress levels. And this year I've really taken the time to address that and really want to change how I address that moving forward.
What's your plan? Do you have a plan yet? You're still working on it?
I'm still working on it, but I'm definitely going to pivot. Maybe I should talk to you, Kendra. I need to rebrand. I need to do something new and different, and really excited about the changes in technology and what does AI mean for the workplace, and what are customers doing?
Okay, Craig, how about you?
I think it's been one of the biggest things is that I haven't been focused enough, and so I'm helping my customers build plans and be focused, but I find that I don't and haven't been focused enough in my own business. And so I'm really doubling down on using my own skills for myself.
Shoemaker has no shoe syndrome. Yes.
For sure.
Right. Kendra, how about you?
So, well, you talk about metrics, and I look at all of those, but I also throw in profit. because revenue is one thing, but if you aren't paying your team and paying yourself what you're worth and not bringing home the money that you want, right? Profit has to come into that as well as your take home pay. But definitely, I mean, this is really what I do with my clients is planning with them throughout the year and implementing it. So yeah, it's looking at whatever's important for your own business. For my business, it's revenue, it's client retention, it's new clients, the leads that are coming in, and then of course looking at that net profit and what I'm paying my team, and what I can reinvest back into my business.
Okay, so that's about, your business as a fractional. How about your clients? End of year, maybe it's calendar year, maybe it's fiscal year for your clients. Is it a critical moment for retention and demonstrating value? You feeling some pressure? Is there something special that happens in the mind when it comes to clients at this time of year? Leslie, how about you?
I work on a slightly different business model than I guess I think a lot of fractionals do. I'm very much embedded and I'm really limited to one or two clients at a time. And I have to be on call virtually 24/7 because of the nature of the technology work that we do. I mean, I did 2 cyber breaches this year. I did a data breach. I did malware attacks. And I don't remember, if everyone experienced CrowdStrike a few years ago. That's the space that I live in. So as long as I'm providing value and helping my customers achieve their goals, I have a job forever, which is great. We do our fiscal planning with the provincial or governmental budget cycle. So that tends to be February, March. And looking at, and of course, these are also union environments. So it's not like we're looking at major staff reductions or we're looking at, bonuses. It's unfortunately just keeping the lights on, which isn't always as much fun. So it's kind of a different experience than maybe what everyone else here is used to.
Yeah, certainly if you're on the front lines as a CIO with hack attacks that can happen anytime and you got to be on 24/7. Are you a one-person operation or are you the team?
I do have one other person that I work with, and she's more of she runs my projects for me.
Okay, so you're really it. So that kind of helps to explain why the burnout is something that's on your radar.
Absolutely.
Clearly. Kendra, how about you? Any year-end rituals you perform with your active clients or anything along those lines?
Tends to be more, well, it depends on their fiscal year, right? Because definitely look at the past for that. And it tends to actually happen from that key metrics from a fiscal year, like January for a lot of my clients because they're December year ends. But it is a lot of clients regardless. We do tend to sit down and go, okay, from the calendar year, how have we done in December? What is it that we want to start planning for and changing for January going forward? And I have long-term retainer clients that I work with month in, month out. So I'm not really terribly concerned that they're going to, say goodbye or anything like that. I'm like Leslie, I'm kind of embedded in their business, right? They're very, very used to talking to me about what their plans are for the year, for the quarter, for the month, and making sure that they're staying on track. And then it's the project-based ones are the ones that are, they'll come and go. But we work on their plan for that period, setting it up and going, and then I know how long that's going to be and when I have open space to take somebody else on.
And Craig?
For me, with working with the customers that I work with, I'm kind of half embedded and half not. So in the embedded customer that I work with, we're in the middle of a bit of reflection. We've been working together for a better part of the year, and we set out to do a bunch of things together, and I'm making sure that we've kind of gone back over everything, gotten the temperature, get the feelings. Not that you don't know this, but I like to just have meaningful conversations about some of the activities we've been able to do together, because that easily leads into the next thing, which is okay, where are we going in the next 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters of work? And so kind of sets that groundwork with them about where we're headed. For more of my advisory customers, it's a similar thing where we're talking about what's improved, what we've learned together, and really that advisory work tends to fall into more helping them understand how to get their organization aligned going into the new year. For everybody, this is like last quarter of the year is kind of that push-pull sort of situation where you're pushing for more revenue and you're trying to pull plans out of the organization while you're thinking about the future. And so it's helping them stay aligned and focused on those sorts of things as we go into the new year.
And I'll add in, as a fractional CMO myself, I find year-end, calendar year-end at least, is always a good time to review with clients what's worked and what hasn't worked. Sort of a stop, start, continue as far as marketing activities for the year. It's a great time to review all those A/B tests that we did, and some spend here and some SEO and AEO. How's that all been doing, and kind of take a big high-level scoreboard look for the year and help to give some direction as to what should we be looking at, stop, start, continue for the next year. And especially this year, the end of 25, for a lot of clients in the marketing front, the whole AI thing is very much present. And there's clients who are just about to jump into the AI thing. There are others who are already rolling with it. And it's always a question of making sure they have the strategy in place before they put the AI in place, and make sure they don't just say, all right, let's get some AI tools in here and work some magic. Because again, AI is just another tool in the toolkit. It is not a magic bullet solution. It's not there to replace the humans. It's there to augment the humans. As one of my previous guests said, the A in AI should stand for augmented intelligence. So it's something that I always stress to customers and clients at this time of year. All right, let's see. Quiet season strategies. So sometimes December is a bit of a quiet time for some fractionals. Things are winding down. Maybe some contracts have ended, and December is a bit of a tough time to find new clients. So how do you guys use the month of December? Do any of you find that it's a bit of a down period, and do you take advantage of that time to kind of recharge, catch up on the admin work, or are you feeling like the first half of December is a great time to really ramp up the biz dev engine for that last blast and try to fill up the pipeline for next year?
For me, it's kind of a combination of both. I find the end of the month, most of the customers are relatively quiet. There's not a lot of activity. There's not they're trying to do some things themselves. And so I find it very nice because it's a little bit more peaceful for me, where I can focus on some bigger picture activities I'm working on for next year in my own business. But I'm using it right now to lay some foundational campaigns and groundwork. I've got 3 proposals out right now. People are still responding, so I'm staying in on the biz dev stuff. But something that I'm sure you're very familiar with, Robert, is working on like the marketing campaign activity for next year and trying to get it seeded and actually some of the pre-work that needs to be done for content development and things like that ready to go, so that kind of by the end of the month, some of those campaigns are running and the activity's actually happening because I know January, I can already see that there's a bunch of things that are going to happen, and I'm going to get busy with client work. And so then you stop thinking about that stuff. And so I use December as a kind of a, how much can I power through sort of month.
Yeah, I can tell you, for clients who are doing the e-commerce thing, especially B2C, now is the busiest time of the year, right? November, December, first half of December at least, usually the whole month of December. You got the Black Friday period, and then you got the Christmas period. It's a big time for online sales. It's actually a bit of a chaotic time of year, although everything should be planned already, but you're responding to real-time results and adjusting and tweaking campaigns. So it can be the busiest time of the year for some clients. Kendra, how about you?
I actually use December as a big planning period of time for me. I'm still pushing. Actually, funny enough, have a planning retreat next week, where that's exactly what we're doing, is planning for 2026 and reviewing 2025 and creating the quarter 1 action plan. but I've always used December, the last 2 weeks of December, because it is very quiet, right? It's always been quiet. It's everybody's sort of taking time off for holidays, and that's what I do. I block off the last 2 weeks of my calendar. Nobody can book with me. So whether I'm, quietly working in the background on stuff, or I'm taking time off to really focus on my planning, that's always been what I've done in December. But it's throughout my business and my career, December's always been a slower month because everybody's thinking about holidays, right? I'm not setting up the marketing or anything like that for people. So yeah, it's always a little bit quieter and time to sit back, recharge, relax, and hit January with the ground running.
And so Leslie, as somebody on the front lines, as a CIO, is December different from any other month for you?
Because we have so many weeks of vacation among the staff and the people that I work with, it's very, very quiet. So I try to use that time myself. I'm doing actually a lot of training. Like, okay, I really wanted to get this one little course in or read a book, catching up on podcasts. I try to take that as my focus. I feel energized by it. It doesn't stress me out. I don't feel the pressure. So I try to throw that in, and then I leave my planning to January. And I think a little bit about like what did I like this year? What do I want to do differently next year? So there's a lot of reflection going on with that.
Well, you've got about 40 episodes of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast to catch up on. So now's a great time. I'm glad to hear you're going to be doing that. That is what you said, right?
I've gone through 5 already.
Oh, good for you. We should send you a prize if only we had one. We got to get some merch going. Does anybody have any tactics for staying top of mind when decision makers in the organizations we're working with are kind of out of the office? What do we do to make sure that we don't fall into the shadowy parts of the business and people stop thinking about us and maybe start making decisions without us or something crazy like that? Anybody encounter that?
I mean, I maintain my one-on-ones and I do weekly updates for various executive board members or stakeholders that I'm working with. And because I do cross-departmental or cross-ministry reporting, they've always, like, I'm always in their inbox. I'm always in their DMs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Craig, how about you? Oh, sorry, Leslie, go ahead.
Or, I mean, I work directly with the business owners, so we're always, right? I'm like Leslie, I'm always in their messages and their DMs and having meetings and booking them out. So I don't really get lost in the shuffle because I'm with the decision makers all the time, right? And constantly in contact with them throughout the month to check in. And we always have, depending on the client, at least minimum monthly meetings. So that's always scheduled out so they know that it's coming up.
Okay, so that cadence doesn't change even in the holiday month of December.
Some of the meetings will get pushed back to January, but in between until they're taking their holidays, I'm still talking to them and checking in with them, even if we aren't meeting on a Zoom call or anything like that.
All right. And Craig, how about you? Any specific tactics for staying top of mind when decision makers are out of the office?
Yeah, for sure. Like I agree with both Leslie and Kendra. Things do get a little bit quieter, and I find, the formal meetings, maybe the in-person stuff that I do, or the online Zoom, Google Meet, or whatever, they do quiet off. But just we're a mobile world now, and text and WhatsApp and all these sorts of things. That's over the holidays in December. That's where I live, because it's really easy to do that, where you're checking in, and like one of my customers is going halfway around the world to go home for 2 weeks, and so you just WhatsApp the conversation, right? It's just easy that way. One of the things I do though, and I started to pick up, and I can't take credit for, I got to basically, it was a tactic given to me by the branding company that's helping me, which is recording a small little video message to people and just texting it to them. It's amazing the response rate when you quickly record yourself and have a little holiday message, or just a hey, a checking in message, or hope everything's going well message, wishing you the best message. Especially over the holiday season, it works well for staying connected, in terms of just being in front of someone. I found it, again, can't take credit for it, but definitely works.
So this is just is this a personalized video message for each client that you're recording?
For sure. Yep. Yeah. Hey, Robert. Been great working with you this year. Really love Fractional Pros Canada. Hope you're having a great time with your family over the holidays. Can't wait to see what you're going to do in 26. That's an example.
Nice. And you're just sending that, you said text. Is this SMS? Is this LinkedIn direct messaging?
It depends on my relationship with the individual. If you're in my WhatsApp or you're in my text, it's probably a text. If you're not, it's probably a DM in LinkedIn, or sometimes I like one of the people it's on Instagram. Like, so it depends on, as we all know, we live in this weird world where there's like 18 different places where you have to meet people. So yeah, I just meet them where they are.
I love that. I'm big on the video thing. I'll often reply to people when they send me like an email. I'll get out Zoom clips, or I used to use Loom. Now I'm using Zoom clips, and I'll put the email on the screen, and I'll roll the tape and record my answer to their email in a video format. I just find it's much easier than, first of all, me typing, because I'm just lazy about that. And second of all, I love being conversational about it. And people don't seem to mind it, and it stands out because most people don't do that. So I think it's a great little tip that everybody could do, and it's a great idea to start doing that for the holiday season, greeting season. I love that, Craig. It's great. And again, people are like, a lot of people are hesitating on that, like, oh, well, am I going to look good? Do I have the right equipment? And the answer is, and Craig, you can confirm, the answer is, if you have a phone, you have the right equipment. That's all. Doesn't have to be fancy, right?
So this year has been an interesting year for me, and branding has been one of the big things that I've had stops and fits and starts with. And I've started to come to terms with the fact that, frankly, walking around with your phone anywhere is as good a place as any to record yourself. Like I was like everybody else, and I thought it had to be so professional and all this sort of thing, and you have to have a great environment. But the reality is, people just like to hear your voice and see your face, right? And little tips like, just don't do it from the bottom up, do it from the top down. Like, just little things like that make it better. Yeah, like I've recorded a ton of videos just wandering around wherever I am. Like, I was going to do it today, but it's pretty ugly out there. But I was down in Niagara on the lake with my wife last week, and I recorded one walking around downtown. There, just, a couple down there. Like, just, I don't know. Yeah, your phone is an amazing tool.
Yeah, it is. And I think, authenticity is more and more, I'll bet, that's one of the buzzwords, I think, or at least the themes for 2026. Oddly, AI is forcing everybody to be more authentic. More and more people want to get together in person, because it's becoming the only time where we can actually know that other face that we're looking at is actually real and not AI. So ironically, that AI is having this human reconnection effect. Leslie, Kendra, anything to add on that? Anything you've experienced along those lines?
About authenticity, or?
Well, about the authenticity, or is that a trend that you're seeing as well from the CIO perspective with your clients? Is that something that you're seeing clients are moving more towards, or what's your take on that from your perspective?
I would say I'm seeing more vulnerability, because people feel very disjointed, or like uncomfortable with the change and how rapid the change has been this year. And they're saying, I need help, or I don't know what to do. And they're bringing more people in, they're bringing more expertise in. So I don't know if that kind of answers your question.
Well, it's interesting. And the expertise, are they bringing in like psychological support type of people, or are they bringing in like more people like you to help defend against AI attacks and stuff like that?
I think it's 50-50. They're bringing in, of course, the traditional consulting firms, right? Which that's a whole nother discussion. And they're also bringing in people like me. Like, I need an independent expert who has my back, who I can trust and I can be very vulnerable and transparent with and figure my way through this.
Any other trends you're seeing for 2026 in your world?
What am I seeing? What I'd like to see is a move away from this like kind of one size fits all approach. I think that has not served us well, and it's time for a change. And I think with the AI tools, we can actually get there. I think it's time.
And when you say a one size fits all approach, what are you referring to as an example?
There's been a lot of implementations that I've been dealing with. So like we've seen several provinces move towards these massive EHR, EMR systems, right? Won't name names, but they fail. They're expensive. They take 7 to 10 years to get like a very basic implementation done. And it's like we keep doing the same thing. And these companies are US based, incredibly difficult to work with. They don't work for Canadian context. And they're very inflexible about working with us. So I think we've realized that the ROI isn't there. We've wasted millions of dollars and tons of people time. And yeah, maybe that's part of my burnout and cynicism speaking, but I'm just so ready to see things change. And of course, we've got a massive crisis in healthcare, and I think we have to do things differently to really address the problem.
Yeah, I definitely relate. Living here in the province of Quebec, where the provincial government is really in the process of chasing doctors away. It's crisis is an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
Craig, how about you? Any trends that you're seeing for 26?
I think you hit on something, Robert, that I am seeing a lot more, which is I'm going to call them pop-up in-person events. Like these ideas that people are just throwing it out there of it's not an event, but it's people getting together, talking about topics, lots of communities trying to facilitate small events. But I think the other thing that is becoming I think we're going to see more in 26 is that's becoming more prevalent is back to big events. Like the attendance at larger events is going up again. And I think it's directly related to what you talked about around the fact that people are struggling to understand who's on the other side of when you get a phone call, when you get an email, when you get a reach out, and that being in person is the only true way to find the true person on the other side. And I see a lot more more opportunity and more willingness for people to go be together in a way that I think back even 15 years was just commonplace is now novel. And I find that fascinating. And I see it just based on some of the things that I've been working on, the amount of things I'm getting invited to, the number of people who say yes when you reach out and say, hey, we haven't seen each other in a while. You want to get together for a coffee? People are saying yes when the last 5 years it was like, hey, can we just do this on Zoom? Or, hey, I don't have time. Can I call you? And now everyone's like making time, which I think is a bigger trend that we're going to see start to become more prevalent.
Yeah, I totally agree. The face-to-face coffee is back. It's back. Kendra, what are you seeing?
Definitely seeing more and more people wanting to meet in person. Absolutely agree with that. And definitely agree with the authenticity. That's something that I'm seeing more and more people are being more comfortable being themselves, whether it's in social media, in meetings, in events that they're going to, because that's what people are resonating with. They want to know who it is that they're working with and who they're meeting with, and know that who you are and who you say you are is who you actually are. And it's also one of the reasons why I think video, even though AI is, coming out and you can make some amazing AI videos now, people are still resonating more with videos because you can, like Greg was saying, with even just the short messages, you can now see the person, you can hear the person, you can hear their tone versus it's an email, it's written. And I think that's going to be something that we see a lot more of in 26. Again, it was big in 24 or 25, but I think we're going to see more and more video from different companies and different people to help promote the authenticity.
Let's talk about setting up things now so that when January rolls around, you're hitting the ground running. Is there, Leslie, anything you do in particular to make sure that the calendar year flips over on the right foot, so to speak?
Yeah, I set 1 or 2 big objectives, and I'm like, this is my focus for the year. Everything else doesn't matter. And then a couple smaller goals just to kind of keep momentum and keep me moving. And I'm a planner. I've got notebooks and calendars, and I have sticky notes. I am old fashioned that way, despite being like a deep tech person. And I've got like my meetings are on the books already. So I just kind of relax and wait, right? Take the pressure off right now so I can be recharged and refreshed for January.
Nice. You got it all lined up. By the way, I'm back to the sticky notes too. As of about, I don't know, 6 months ago, I rediscovered it's this weird joy of crossing a to-do off the list with a pen on the sticky note. There's just something so dopaminetic about it, if that's a word. I'm back to that. Put the big 3 for the day on the sticky note, cross them off as I go along, and it's just pure bliss. Simple things in life, I guess. Craig, how about you?
It's interesting because while you guys are talking sticky notes, I bought a big, huge whiteboard. Like for exactly the same reason. It's in my office and it is full of stuff. And to your point, there's nothing better than erasing something from a whiteboard because it's done. But like kind of what we've been talking about is that I'm in the process of trying to reimagine what my business is. And so there's a lot of things that are happening for me that are new right now, and I'm thinking about how to really build a baseline for the new year where I mentioned on our I think our last call, I've hired a fractional salesperson. And so I'm onboarding someone in my company for the first time, which is great timing, but it's exciting about where we're headed in January. But for me, looking into next year, it's about 2 major projects. Publishing a book and launching a podcast, which sound so very exciting, but also they're very harder personally for me to do. And so that's where I'm really looking forward to in terms of planning is really focusing around some major content activities to try and drive different kind of revenue for the business as we go into January.
Kendra.
See, I'm a mix of tech and paper. I actually have a Remarkable. That's where like my life lives, but that's because otherwise I had about 80 notebooks going. So this way I have 80 notebooks in one spot. And then I have actually use Motion, right, to structure out my day, and it allows me to do all of that planning pieces, which I'm actually very much enjoying. But I have my plan. I have my goals set for 2026. I'm working on them right now. By the end of next week, I'll have them all done and laid out. And then I actually plan out by quarter with the actual action steps. So by the end of next week, I'm going to have all of my steps planned out for what I need to do. And like Craig, I'm not writing a book yet, but I'm planning to launch a podcast. So I'm going to have all of my steps laid out for how that's going to be done and when I need to do it. And right, all of my outreach, all of my projects that I know are coming down the line with my clients, I have all of that stuff planned out. And then I do the same thing in March, where I will reflect back on the first quarter and I plan it all out. So I like having that plan and knowing and leaving flexibility in my plan for different things that are going to pop up, whether it's a new client project, whether it's, something that I wasn't planning for, taking extra time off or something like that just to recharge myself. That's how I know that I'm going to be able to, January 2nd, I'm going to be able to sit there and go, yeah, this is what I need to be doing to get where it is that I want to go.
All right, let's wrap it up with the traditional billboard question, but with a little bit of a twist. So if you could put one piece of advice on a billboard for a fractional who's maybe just starting their journey right now or is planning to get going in January, what would that one piece of advice be on a billboard for them to see as they drive by it every single day on the highway of life?
So the one I tell everyone when they're starting, because it would serve me so well, is you don't know so you know a lot of people and you don't know who they know. So tell them you're fractional, because everybody you know knows 100 people or more. So you don't know, that network's huge. So tell everyone because you don't know who they know.
Tell everyone because you don't know who they know. All right. Leslie.
I was strategically thinking, so I could buy an extra second there. I would say just keep going. It's a slow journey and things always take more time than you think.
Just keep going. It's a marathon, not a race.
Ultra marathon, not a sprint, yeah.
Right. All right. Kendra.
Have a plan, but be flexible in that plan, because things are never going to work out exactly how you think they're going to work out. And with that, make sure you have your foundations in place before you start.
All right. So have a plan, but be flexible with that plan. Yeah. More than ever, adapting the agile way of running. I think not just our business lives, but our lives in general with so much change going on. Although it's interesting, every time I hear somebody brings back, this is the 30th anniversary of some famous speech or book that came out or something, inevitably the people of that period were saying exactly the same thing that people are saying now. It's a period of change. There's a lot of challenges. It seems like nothing actually ever changes on that respect. There's always this uncertainty, this change going on. It has a different form, different flavors, but it seems we're constantly, I don't want to say stuck in the same place. We just are in the same place, different kind of circumstances, but the feeling seems to be always that. So, plus ça change, plus c'est pareil, as they say in French. The more it changes, the more it stays the same. All right, we'll end it there. Kendra, Craig, Leslie, thank you so much for joining us here on this kind of year-end wrap-up / outlook to next year of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. That's a wrap on another episode of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. If you're a fractional professional based in Canada, we'd love to have you join us in the Fractional Pros Canada Facebook group, the home for Canada's fractional community. It's where Canadian fractional executives connect, share insights, and help each other succeed. Until next time, I'm Robert Mendelson, Fractional CMO. May your impact be full-time, even if your hours are fractional.